Welcome to Thinking Green. I'm Rana, and I have quite a few guests tonight, so we're going to break it up into a couple of parts. Many of you might know that this weekend there is a benefit walk to benefit the Homeless Hospitality Center, and so that will be tonight's topic. And so I have with me today Laura Edelstein, who works for the Homeless Hospitality Center, and several students from Connecticut College. In the first half, we have Kia Thomas and Kim Yu, and they are helping with this walk. So we're going to talk about the Homeless Hospitality Center and its programs, what CON students are doing, and the walk. So welcome, all of you.
Thank you.
I guess first I want to ask you girls, how did you get involved in the PICA program, and maybe just tell people what the PICA program is to start with?
There are a number of different certificate programs at Connecticut College. PICA is one of them, and it's the program in community action and public policy. So we both applied in the fall, and we got in. I was just interested in doing something kind of outside of my academics that would, I don't know, give me some experience and teach me things I hadn't already learned about.
Now, what about you, Kia?
I knew I want to go to nursing school after this, and I know I really, my lifetime goal is to work at a health clinic, so I figured public policy and community action. Our college doesn't necessarily have a health program, so I wanted to get involved in community work and get my health experience there.
Now, how selective is the PICA program? What's the application process like?
I think it depends year to year, depending on how many people want to apply. I think in our year, there were, about 45 people that applied, and our class has 23 people this year. We had to write an essay, we had to get references, we had to kind of plan what we wanted to do for the rest of our time at CON.
Yeah, and the point of the program is to apply with an idea in mind, a project, a community-based project that you have in mind. And
so you both chose homelessness, or not?
No.
Okay.
So there's a capstone program which you take as a sophomore, and it's a public policy class and then also a learning seminar. So for the learning seminar, there's two groups. There's one that works with the Homeless Hospitality Center and another that is working with Benny Dover Jackson Middle School.
So you've been working at the Homeless Hospitality Center.
Yes.
So how long have you been doing this?
Since January.
Yes, since the semester.
So, okay, so what's it been like? Was it how you anticipated it, or did it turn out to be a totally different experience?
It's like what I expected. I'm really enjoying the learning seminar, also the public policy. We're learning a lot about public policy and working through that. So it's been very informative for me, and I've already learned a lot about my project idea, so it's been good.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. I'm a psychology major, so I've just learned a lot about things that I've never learned in classes before. And my experience with the Homeless Hospitality Center has just been something I've never done before. It's been great.
Now, what specific kinds of things are you doing?
Well, I can tell you about what they do for us at the center.
And you can talk about what your role is within
Absolutely.
the Homeless Hospitality Center.
I'm the volunteer coordinator, so I've really coordinated all of their interactions with us. They have been wonderful. They are absolutely outstanding. There's 9 kids that have been working with me, or there's college students, and they have gone above and beyond everything I could have imagined. I was very tentative. This is my first year on the walk, working with the students, and I cannot give them any more praise than I have. They were all required to volunteer for 10 hours. By and large, they probably averaged between 20 to 30 hours of volunteer time a piece. They come to the night shelter to volunteer at the night shelter. They come to the daytime center. They come to a women's group that I run. They come to programs that we have. I mean, it's blown me away. And they just, when I need help, they show up. And it's been outstanding. The work they've done in the community in organizing this we couldn't have picked a better group of kids to help.
Now, maybe while you're talking, you can talk a little bit about all the different things that Homeless Hospitality Center does. I think people know about the emergency overnight shelter, but they might not have a good idea about everything else that that Homeless Hospitality Center does. And I know if you look on the website, there's a long list of services. So can you talk a little bit about the various things that happen there?
Sure. The Homeless Hospitality Center is an emergency shelter. We are currently located on 76 Federal Street is our overnight shelter. And our daytime center is located at 19 J Street. The overnight shelter is based on getting people off the street. It's about keeping people warm and safe.
Yep.
The daytime center is where most of our activities happen. We do everything from housing to helping people hook up with services from the Department of Social Services. We help people with education. We help people get linked up with assurance phones. We help write resumes, get people back into the job market. Anything you could need to aid you in getting out of homelessness is something we can accomplish as a team. It is a small staff, as many people know, and that's why we rely so heavily on volunteers to help us bring skills.
Now, on any given night, how many people might be sleeping at the emergency overnight shelter?
Between 45 and 50. In the winter months, the numbers do go up. But I think last night we had about 50 people staying with us.
And in the dead of winter, it might...
It could be higher, much higher. Yeah. We do have what we call our no freeze area, or our winter refuge, which is opened from November the 1st to April the 1st during the really cold months. And at that point, nobody could be turned away for whatever reason.
Well, I think that started because there were some deaths of homeless men in this area.
About 8 years ago, we had, when social services was shut down, 2 gentlemen did pass away when there was no shelter for them. They froze to death in the woods. And that is where our organization came from. We were able to come as like a grassroots and come together and, I guess, create a place where that will never happen again. And we do our best to keep people out of the elements.
And I have to say that, from a political point of view, I don't think the city is ever going to take that on again, really, doing emergency services like that. So it's important that the Homeless Hospitality Center started doing that.
It's not just us, though. There are many, many other organizations in the city that do aid us. The Community Meal Center is a vital part of our operation that's located on Montauk Avenue, as well as, the list could go on and on and on about how many wonderful services that are now in the city of New London.
Now, Kim and Kia, when you first started your first day, was there anything that really struck you, with the people you met or the work you were doing?
I'm a New London local. I've been born and raised in the city, so it's shocking to me because I have been very, very privileged, and to see people in the community that I call home really, really struggle. It was a different experience than I had had growing up here for 18 years. I was going to say 30. It's coming around.
Experience beyond your years.
Yeah, it was definitely eye-opening for me as well. I'm from Boston, so I do definitely see a lot of homelessness around the city, but I had never volunteered in a shelter before. I'd never really interacted with people who are homeless, and so it was just really great to actually get to interact with these kind of people and see what their stories are.
Now, this is an adult-only shelter, correct?
Correct.
So what is the range of people you meet? Are there some people who are there night after night and some that just kind of float through?
I can talk a little bit about that. Our shelter does deal with single adults, men and women only. We are an 18 and above shelter, so everybody, even volunteers, have to be above 18. we see the range of people. We see people who stay with us for one evening, and we also see people who are with us for an extended period of time. The goal of the shelter is to get people out quickly and back into the community. We would like to eventually see everybody as successful community members. So we see people that have suffered job loss. We see people who are suffering from mental health. We see people who are suffering from things such as cancer or other health issues. Anything that could, I guess, affect people into losing their homes. We see the whole range.
I guess it is kind of frightening that people who had a fairly stable existence, one medical emergency or job crisis can just change everything.
It's scary.
Definitely.
That's a big part about what we are trying to bring through the walk and through raising awareness, is that these people are your neighbors. The homeless that we do see are people just like us. They could be, any one of us at some point in our life could suffer homelessness. We could be touched by it. We could have family members who are afflicted by it. And so we really want to just raise that kind of awareness. And these people aren't just scary individuals. They're just like us, and they all have a story and something to teach us all.
Now, over the overnight shelter is adults only. Do you get a chance to come in contact and work at all with homeless youth or with families that have kids? Have you had any experience with them, in your working with the homeless?
I would say that they don't particularly. I do volunteer at the soup kitchen on occasion, so I see some of that at the soup kitchen. But unfortunately, we do not allow any kind of children in our shelter. They are taken care of mostly by the Covenant Shelter, as well as the Women's Center, Safe Features, formerly known as the Women's Center.
Yeah. Are there any people you know from Conn College who are working with the Covenant Shelter or any of these other programs, or is it just Benny Dover and Homeless Hospitality Center for your class?
For our class, it's just those two programs. I don't know anyone who's volunteering at the other shelters, but I'm sure it's possible that there are some people.
Now, what year students are you?
We're both sophomores.
You're both sophomores. Now, is this PICA program something that continues until you graduate, or is it?
Yes.
So, what do you have to look forward to within that certificate program over your next couple years?
Next year we take a seminar for when we're juniors, and then from then on we continue to work on our project. As a senior, we work on a project that incorporates everything that we've learned, our project idea, and also we do an internship. They help us find an internship that's in a field of our interest, so we can.
Okay, now I'm curious. So what are your projects?
My project is dealing with the stigma against people who have mental illness, especially with eating disorders in young girls, and kind of raising awareness about that issue.
My project is about preventative health care screenings and making sure that those who don't have health insurance or are of lower income can receive such things such as mammograms, colonoscopies, and pap smears.
Well, those are pretty ambitious projects. I know you said you were a psychology major and you were interested in public health nursing. Were those, I don't know quite how to frame this. Did your projects grow out of your general interest in those issues, or did it happen the other way, that you had something specific you were interested in and you decided on a career path?
I've always been, ever since I was 16, I did research working with somebody who helped sponsor the Gardasil drug, so I've always been interested in cervical cancer and helping women detect that early. So I came to Conn with that idea, but when I heard about the PICA program, I thought it was my chance to really go forward with that.
Yeah, I've always been interested in psychology, but through my classes in that field, I've learned more about the stigma that people deal with. So that inspired my project.
Now, as you've worked with the homeless, have you found that they also suffer from being stigmatized? And from what you see, how can we get around that or get over that?
I think there's
Definitely.
I think there's a huge misconception about people who are homeless due to lack of working or lack of effort, and I really think that I know for a fact that that's so far from the case. I think that there's just really tough times for everybody right now, and I think that people are working really hard, but there's really not enough affordable public housing, and there isn't enough responsibility taken by those in the community who are doing well to help those who aren't. So I have learned a lot that the stigma is so far from true. Like Laura said, it's people just like me and you who fall in hard times. And
well, I used to work for Head Start, and a lot of my students' families lived in public housing, and to this day there's a misconception that most of those people are just collecting assistance and not employed. And the vast majority are employed. They're just working at places that don't pay a living wage, and they're working really crummy hours frequently. It's very disruptive to their family. They have young kids. They're working second and third shift, and they're at jobs that don't give them health insurance. I guess that's where you're, so they don't necessarily get health care they need, and their lives can be pretty precarious, even though they are employed and they're actually working harder than a lot of the rest of us.
We see that a lot at the shelter. We see a lot of people that are what we call underemployed. They may be working part-time, or they may be college educated, or educated into a field or a trade, and just are unable to find work. We see a lot since the businesses have pulled out of the New London area, places like Electric Boat and Pfizer. We see a lot of people that were employed there who have suffered job losses and are unable to find jobs. People that were employed for many, many years and had families, owned homes, and just, just lost their job, and one thing led to another. And so what we're finding right now is that trying to encourage people back into the workforce is a big part of it too. Building people's confidence up enough to looking for work is not easy. And
no, it can be really stressful.
And it's really daunting, and we do a lot of trying to encourage people and building up their confidence again, that even though you've been turned down for 5 jobs, the right job is still out there for you.
Some of them, I imagine, had really good paying jobs 10 years ago, and
Absolutely.
now what's out there is really not so good.
It's very shocking to a lot of our older guests who have always been employed, and are realizing that they are no longer eligible or qualified for work, even though they've worked their entire lives. Technology has put them out of jobs.
Now, what would you recommend to someone who's watching this and they think, this is something that catches my interest? How could I help? How can people help?
Call us and volunteer.
And how do they call you?
Absolutely. We can find us on the internet at www.nlhhc.org. There are links to our Facebook page there, as well as our phone number. I won't tell you guys now our phone number. I'm sure you'll forget it. But NLHHC is easy to remember. The New London Homeless Hospitality Center.org. And you can Google it, and our phone number's there. Give us a call. We're happy to give tours to people. We would love to have people just come down and see what we do. Look around, talk to people, give an hour of your time. We have a store called Homeward Bound, which is located on Golden Street. When you're clearing out your house, doing spring cleaning, if you want to donate anything, all of the proceeds go right to our shelter. You can call Homeward Bound, and they are more than welcome to come take your stuff off your hands for you.
Well, the other thing I guess I wanted to ask, now have you primarily worked in the overnight shelter or with the day programs as well?
I've done most of my hours at the night shelter.
And I've only worked in the day shelter.
Well, mention a little bit what the experience is of someone who's coming to one of these facilities who need services. And I guess starting with the night shelter, because that's emergency.
So I think the doors open at 6:30.
6:30.
6:30, and people check in, and they are assigned to a bed, and there's a big common room, which was the only place that I've been as a volunteer, and there's usually a meal provided, and they can do things like play cards, talk. There's a phone for them to use, and the staff there is really fun, so there's usually a lot of conversation going on back and forth, and then it's lights out.
Lights out are 10. At night, we provide showers, we provide other things that people may need. It's also a really good place to just take a load off at the end of the night. We try and keep a relaxed environment because being homeless and being on the streets every day is extremely stressful. And so we really try to alleviate that stress when people come in.
Now, do people mostly sleep in the common room? Are there male and female separate quarters?
We have men's and women's rooms, as well as we do have a common room for people who are suffering from illness, or for people that we need to watch, new people, things along those lines.
I'm trying to visualize it. Actually, that space where you have was my classroom once.
Okay, we're located in the St.
St.
James basement, and when you walk in, it's a large common room. And as you go through the common room, when you're in at night, the common room is set up with about 6 tables, as well as an area where we search and metal detect people. And then from there, you walk in. If you make the first right there, we'll have coffee, juice, as well as water. And then there's a bedroom that has about 8 beds in it, which is a men's bedroom. A second classroom, which is now another bedroom, which has 8 to 10 beds in it for men. We have a storage facility in there, as well as we have a women's bedroom, which sleeps about 15. My numbers aren't quite great. And then we also have a large men's bedroom in the back. So it's quite compact, but it works. But that being said, we are moving our facilities soon. As some of you may know, we moved to State Pier Road this fall. We bought and are refurbishing the old Polish church underneath the bridge. And it's going to be a 25-bed shelter with a 10-bed respite area, which means that people coming out of the hospital will have a place to stay. We're very, very excited about it because it's for the first time both of our facilities will be combined. We will all be in one place, and we'll be able to really help people better.
And we have a couple minutes left. Kim, do you want to talk a little bit about what you've seen in the day program?
Sure. The day program is more of just a place where people can come, get out of the elements, and hang out. I've been to the women's group, which is a women's support group that Laura runs on Thursday mornings, where just women can come and talk and support each other, do their nails, things like that. I've also worked in the employment workshop, where I've helped people search for jobs, revise their resumes, write their cover letters. So those are just 2 very different things, but they were great.
Well, thank you, too. We're going to take a break of about 3.5 minutes and come back with a couple other different students who have also been working with the Homeless Hospitality Center. Thank you, Kia and Kim, and good luck. And the second half, we'll talk more about the walk that's coming up.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
miles are returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since they've been there. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. I see the ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Oh, here goes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say, it's alright. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright, it's alright. No, 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 it's alright.
Welcome back to Thinking Green. I'm here with two different students from Conn College, Rena Gottlieb and Leah Swinson, and Laura Edelstein, whose name we'll try to get right this second half, is with us answering questions about the Homeless Hospitality Program. So Rena and Leah, how did you two get involved in the PICA program?
Well, I'm a gender and women's studies major, and I'm also getting my education certificate. So I thought that the PICA program was great because I was able to combine my two interests and try to come up with a project that would help empower young women in inner city schools. And I knew that the PICA program would help me pursue that interest. So that was my...
I'm a history major, but I'm also very interested in education, but was not able to, or I decided not to become certified as a teacher while at Conn. So I thought that the PICA program would help me to have an interest in education, and my project is more on after-school programs and educational inequality. And I'm interested in that because I went through after-school programs all throughout public school, so that was an area that I knew.
So what are your projects, I guess, the specific projects that you're doing?
So Connecticut College has a program with the Benny Dover Jackson Middle School, specifically with girls, 6th through 8th graders. It's called the Sister Mentorship Program. So I was in that last year. For the whole year, they meet twice a week for 3 hours. And it really inspired me. It was an empowerment program for girls, so we would do homework and we would do different activities teaching them healthy lifestyles. And I felt that it worked really well for middle schoolers, and how come there weren't any opportunities for elementary schoolers? So hopefully with my project, I want to start a program for elementary school girls in the New London community.
And then you might find that there should be programs down into preschool too.
Yeah.
I have to say, I started out as a preschool teacher, and then I ended up with infants and toddlers because even at age 5, it seemed like too late to be starting some things.
Yeah.
What is your project? So I went through after-school programs growing up because both of my parents were working full-time and were not able to pick me up right after school. So that's kind of where my interest stemmed from, because not every student is in after-school programs, and they can be either very helpful or can be seen as kind of a hindrance. And my whole family has had a history of struggling through education and getting to higher education, and so that was something that my parents really stressed to me, was going to college. And as a history major, I really wanted to look at like the historical buildup of certain educational inequalities and the problems that we're having in education right now and how those relate to after-school programs.
And that's pretty relevant now. It seems as though the gaps are widening rather than narrowing over the last 10 years or so.
Definitely.
Before the show, you mentioned something about, because you both kind of come to this from an educational perspective, that there was an event a couple of weeks ago that people came and spoke to you at school. Can you talk about that a little?
Sure. We partnered, our walk group within our PICA Gateway class partnered with our school's chapter of Habitat for Humanity, and we helped organize a panel where Laura was present, and she brought about 4 guests from the shelter to kind of raise awareness about homelessness during Habitat's Act Speak Build Week. So it was a week-long sort of like events, I guess, that were going on. And we had a general discussion. Several professors were there as well, and about 30 to 40 students from Connecticut College, and we sort of opened the discussion about homelessness, and the guests were able to talk about their own stories and how they ended up in the places that they are now.
It was wonderful. The guests were unbelievable. They talked about their experiences with the shelter, and they talked about their goals for the future. And it was a very empowering hour that we spent with the Con kids. And they can't wait to come back.
It was really eye-opening also for the students, especially those who haven't been volunteering at the shelter. So especially the Habitat for Humanity Con students, to have a stereotype in your mind and then proven that they're just people who want to talk and just hang out. So it was really eye-opening for everyone.
The guests we brought were the same age. So we brought the kids, we brought most of them were the same age. We brought 4 people that were under 25. And so we had a lot of fun because it was just kind of like friends talking, and we ate good food, and they were just, the guests were very appreciative of, I can't say that word, appreciative of just the opportunity to get out and just be thankful. So it was
Probably
wonderful.
just be seen as part of the conversation
Absolutely.
rather than that group.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, what specific things have you done with the Homeless Hospitality Center?
So I've worked at the daytime shelter in the mail room, and I've also just hung out and played cards with the guests, watched TV, talked, read magazines. And then I've also worked at the women's group with Laura on Thursday mornings, which has been incredible.
I also worked at the daytime center. I spent like 2 days, I think, in the mailroom, and I worked at the front desk helping to check people in when they came into the daytime center, and I've been at the nighttime shelter as well, checking people in. So,
How do the two experiences compare, the daytime and the nighttime?
well, at the daytime center, I wouldn't say that it's, well, I was there at the end of the day, so there's a lot of like hustle and bustle, closing up and getting people to the places that they need to be, but both places are very active, I guess, and it was interesting to see some of the same people from the daytime center come back at night and be able to recognize them and remember their names and have conversations with them. So.
Well, let's talk about the walk, because for several years now, because we don't want to end the show and have people say, well, I know there's a lot about it. Well, can any of you tell a little bit of the history of this walk?
Sure. The walk started 6 years ago, so this is the 6th annual Walk for the Homeless, and it is a partnership between the Hospitality Center as well as Con College. Con College has, I guess, a department called the Holleran Center for Public Policy. Am I correct?
And community action.
And community action. And together they have partnered to put on this event. Little by little, the walk is growing, and it's still continuing to grow as one of our main fundraisers and events for the year. This year, being a little different, we tried to make it a lot more publicly known what was going on, a lot more publicity. It is promotion of our new site. We will begin this year at the new site, which is the Polish Church, and that's located on State Pier Road but if you put State Pier Road into your GPS, you will never, ever, ever find it. So that's why you see a couple different addresses out and about. But really, I recommend you put in a GPS 327 Huntington Street, and that's the only way you're going to find
That's
it.
funny. Does it even connect through to Huntington Street?
Well, it's where the church is
Yeah.
sandwiched kind of between the two roads, and the parking lot is in the Faith Fellowship. So the Faith Fellowship parking lot is where we'll be kicking
Oh,
off.
okay, and that is on Huntington
Yes.
Street. Okay, well, you cleared something up for me, too, because I know where the church is, and I saw the Huntington Street address, and I thought, where are we meeting?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's kind of weird because we are under construction right now. If you do attend the walk, you'll see the progress we've made. But there's not really a parking lot associated with the Polish church. We do share the parking lot with Faith Fellowship. So even though we receive our mail on State Pier Road,
In Park on Huntington.
Park on Huntington.
I guess you can update us a little. It took a long time, I know, for the Homeless Hospitality Center to find a permanent home in the Polish church. What's the status, and when do you
Sure.
anticipate being in full swing?
We broke ground about a month ago. It spent a lot of time under bid because we are a nonprofit, and there's a lot of things I don't understand about nonprofits and building things, but we did break ground about a month ago. We have replaced all the sides. They took the sides off of the church. They are constructing a second floor in the church itself, as well as completely redoing everything. It's going to be state-of-the-art, as well as we're going to have air filtration systems, and it's just going to be a really nice place to be when it's done. We project to open come this fall. We're projecting now a grand opening for late September, early October. So kind of right in time for the bad winter, or the bad weather again.
Yeah. Maybe we can go back and give people real details about the walk. Where are people going to walk to, and how do you register and stuff like that?
Sure. So the walk is taking place on Sunday, so, April 28th. It starts at 2 p.m. I'm not sure of the order in which we're walking, but we will be visiting the daytime center at J Street, the nighttime shelter at the St. James Episcopal Church, as well as the soup kitchen.
Actually, we kick off activities at 2 o'clock
Yeah.
at the State Pier Road. We will walk down Huntington Street. After a little festivities, we will go down Huntington, down Federal, so we'll pass
St. James.
the St. James Church, and then we'll go down Bank Street, so we'll walk right downtown. So if you can't be part of our walk, at least come out to support us. You'll see signs. We'll be out in
So
force.
maybe around 2:30.
Well, we'll think more about 3:30. For the first hour, we're going to have activities, and we're going to have some bands play, and we have a lovely woman here who's singing a cappella. So we're really excited to have 2 a cappella groups joining us, as well as a band. We're going to have some activities for the kids. And after we walk down Bank Street, you'll see us in green T-shirts. So please come out and support us. We will be walking back up J Street, past the Daytime Center, and back up Huntington. It's about a little over 2.5, not even quite 2.5 miles. We'll go at a slow pace. If you are unable to physically walk, we still say come on out, have fun. There's going to be food vendors. There's going to be raffles. It's going to be a really good time. So whether or not you can walk, just come out and support a great
It
cause.
does sound like a bigger event than it has in the past. So what role has Con played in planning this?
Well, so it's not just the 4 of us students planning it. It's actually 9 students, and Laura and Diana, who works at the Holleran Center, along with a few other people from the Hospitality Center. So we've all come together at the beginning of the semester and really had nothing. So we started from ground zero and created this whole thing. So we've really come together as a team and made registration forms, donation forms, an online registration form, a Facebook group, publicity, gotten all the food vendors and activities going. So really everything. We've all come together.
You name it, they've done everything this
And it was
year.
all in like 2.5 months.
Pretty much.
And we had spring break in the middle.
And, and to top it off, we got postponed this year because of the 2 snowstorms. So for the first whole month, or all of January, they were out of class because of the snowstorms. So we've worked on very little time, and it's amazing what we've done and what they've done, and we couldn't do it
And you're
without
still
them.
going to your classes, right? You
Yeah.
have Bibles.
We do.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow. So if someone wants to register to be a walker, how much does it cost? And are there special rates for, special groups?
So it's $20 for an individual, $15 if you're a student or veteran.
Active military or senior.
Yes.
Yes. And then it's cheaper if you're on a team. So for a team of 5, it's $60.
So $12 a person.
And a team of 10 is $110, so $11 a person. And then children under 12 are free.
And if you are financially incapable of paying, we still say, come on out. We are not going to turn anybody away from walking. We really, really want people to come out and support us. So whether or not you can financially pay, just please come to the walk. We welcome anybody with a pair of sneakers.
Yeah. Now, do you have any teams that have signed up already?
Yeah, we have a
Yes.
bunch. A lot of religious churches, synagogues have huge groups that are coming. We have a group of 40 people
Wow.
from a local church coming and local synagogue coming. So, and also from school. So sports teams are coming together. Friend groups are coming together. So
Our women's group is walking as a team together. I run a women's group, as you've probably heard already, and it's about eight women from the shelter. Some days it's more, some days it's less. But it's a group about empowerment, women's empowerment, and we're going to walk as a team. We're making our own shirts, so you'll see us out. Ask about it. We welcome anyone.
Making your own shirts?
We are. We
You'll
are.
still be green though, right?
The girls will have different shirts on this week, so they'll be able to find us. There's only probably about 10 to 15 of us, and we are really excited about doing this. Our first event as a group, and so we're very, very excited.
Now, how much do you anticipate making, fundraising for this event?
So I've been creating a very large, long spreadsheet of keeping track of everyone who's registered or who has donated. And a lot of teams that have registered through a single person. So it's one person representing, 10 or 20 people. So right now we have probably approaching 200 people that are
that's
registered
great. Wow.
and have donated. It's probably 127 right now without people in the teams, everyone in the team registered. So it's going to be a pretty big event.
Yeah, it sounds huge. I think I missed last year, but a couple years ago I walked and it wasn't nearly so elaborate. It was a shorter walk. There weren't nearly so many people.
We're really trying to make this a visible event. My biggest thing when I guess got put in charge of this was that I wanted it to be visible. I wanted everyone to know that we were out there, that we're walking, that we're doing something good for the community. It's as much as it is about fundraising for us, it's about raising awareness for the homeless and I guess the home challenged people in the city, as well as coming together as a community and just supporting each other. And so it's supporting spring, it's getting moving, I'm so excited. I can't even get over it. They've done such a good job, and I just can't wait to walk.
Well, you mentioned before, and it's sort of a repeated theme, the idea of stigma reduction, because any of us could end up in that kind of emergency situation, having, with a health crisis or an employment crisis. So I'm thinking that getting out there is really a helpful way to break those stigmas down. I wanted to ask each of you, when you first started working at the Homeless Hospitality Center, what your impressions were and how they might have changed over the last few months.
I was pretty nervous before I started at the shelter. I as I think Kia said before, we were split up our class into working with middle schoolers and working with the homeless shelter. So I have always worked with kids. So I was nervous about the opportunity. I was really excited, but it was a new experience. And it's been so incredible and so rewarding. And I think the best part is getting to know the people who come and the people who work there. It's just this whole community that we as con students aren't introduced to unless we take the step to volunteer at a place like that. So sometimes we feel like we're in a little bubble in Con College, but I think it's really our responsibility to get out of that bubble and to make an effort to be part of the New London community. So.
Yeah, like Brenna, I had a lot of experience working with kids, volunteering. I was also a mentor with the Sister Mentor program we have on campus. And it's kind of hard to say, like, I'm working with adults because technically I am an adult, but I don't feel like an adult on campus. So that was I was nervous about that. But I think one of the most surprising things that I realized is that there are a lot of guests that come to the shelter that are my age, that are around my age, and that's something that I hadn't considered before, because no one that I know immediately has gone through a situation like this. And meeting these people and understanding that, you know, we're the same age, we were born in the same year, and our lives have ended up in completely different places, but they're still great people that are funny and nice and have a lot of stories and have the same sort of interests that I do. That was something that I was not thinking about when I signed up.
I guess it isn't something that we really think of, but it is sad that I'm guessing most of the young people, their whole families were in very disrupted states.
It depends. Some people age out of the foster system. That's something we do see. We see people who, young individuals who are affected by alcohol and drug addiction, as well as we see people that just don't have a family, that their parents have passed away, or for whatever reason their family is no longer involved.
So there's no support group at all?
Correct. And so we, through support systems like the women's group and through the Met, we also started a men's group. And through groups like this, as well as just staff and volunteers, we act as people's support systems. And we really, really try to help people as best we can.
Now, I mentioned it a little, but I was, what kind of specific programs do you have for veterans? I know that seems to be a growing problem of vets who come back and have a lot of issues.
We do have about 11% of our population is veterans-based. We do have a veterans house located on Mountain Avenue.
5 minutes.
The veterans house is funded by the VA, as well as funded by us. So you have to, I guess, have an honorable discharge. I myself don't do a lot right now with the vets because I'm wrapped up with everything else. But we do have a support. We do have a really wonderful support system through different staff members like Charles Boyd and Andy Noble, both retired from the military, do wonderful, wonderful things with our veterans. We hope to be able to do more.
Well, I've been told we have 4 minutes left. So maybe in the last couple minutes, you can talk about how other people could get involved that you think would be helpful for them and for the community.
So the best thing probably to do would be to visit the center's website, nlhhc.org. There's a link to the registration online. They can register for the walk beforehand. If not, you can come down on the day of, April 28th, Sunday, 2 p.m. We can register you there, and it's going to be a really good experience.
If you can't come to the walk, please feel free to, whenever you want, stop by our website, give us a call, come by, bring your donations. We just welcome anybody.
And it sounds worthwhile anyway, because I'm really curious to see the work that's being done and
Absolutely.
the tour of the different areas.
Absolutely.
Okay, Rena, do you have any parting words?
Come to the walk. Come to the walk. Everyone should come.
And
are a lot of the guests going to be walking as well?
Absolutely.
Yes.
They're very excited. And so we just say, please come. I can't ask you again. Well, I guess I can. Please come.
And you can sign up online, or you can just show up and sign up on the spot. And it's affordable, and it'll be a fun day and a great cause. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having us. We're so happy.
Well, I'm glad to meet you and to see what you're doing. It sounds like it's a great program at Con. We also sometimes think Con is on a bubble, those of us who live in New London, and it's really great to see more interaction between the two parts of the city. So thank you, and everyone come on the walk. Next week will be something totally different. Charlotte Hunter, who's been on our show several times, just got back from Tanzania about a month ago, I think, and she will be giving us updates on the 3 schools that she sponsors in Tanzania through her nonprofit Pocketful of Joy. So we'll be seeing a lot of slides from Tanzania. So thank you all, and also to Kia and Kim from the first half, and we'll see you at the walk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.